Minister and president of the oil cartel OPEC has been granted bail after appearing in a London court. The Ezani Alison Madueke is charged with bribery offences in exchange for multi-million-dollar oil and gas contracts. She served as president of the Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries, or OPEC, and was a crucial figure in the Nigerian government of Goodluck Jonathan between 2010 and 2015. She denies all the charges. Yesterday, Arise News chief correspondent John Cookson was outside the court from where he sent this report.
She was once one of Africa's most prominent politicians, a former president of the global oil cartel OPEC, the first female to hold the post. Today's London court appearance by Alison Madueke follows years of investigations by Britain's National Crime Agency and Nigeria's Anti-Graft Commission, the EFCC. A Nigerian court has already recovered $21 million from bank accounts Alison Madueke held in Nigeria, and both the EFCC and the US Department of Justice have seized properties worth almost $100 million, allegedly purchased with the proceeds of corruption. Evidence in this case is expected to shed further light on alleged corrupt practices endemic to Nigeria's oil industry over a period of 5 years. And the crux of this case, Britain's National Crime Agency alleges Alison Madueke accepted bribes during her time as Minister for Petroleum Resources in exchange for awarding multi-million-dollar oil and gas contracts. Mrs. Alison Madueke was charged with 6 counts of bribery, including accepting £125,000 in cash, having access to numerous London properties, accepting gifts from high-end firms like Cartier and Louis Vuitton, having school fees paid, chauffeur-driven cars, and private flights. It was supposed to be a run-of-the-mill committal hearing to a Crown Court hearing at Southern Crown Court on October the 30th, but then came high drama. The magistrates decided that she was a flight risk and that bail had to be paid. She offered £50,000. The magistrate said that wasn't enough. She added another £20,000 to that, or £70,000 in total, or $85,000. That was finally agreed, and it had to be wired to a bank account here at the Magistrates' Court. Meantime, she was held in police custody during that time. There were other bail conditions too. She has to wear a tag like a common criminal. The other bail condition was that she can't leave her London home in St John's Wood between 11 p.m. and 6 in the morning. All this a huge humiliation, surely, for a woman who was feted around the world as oil minister and former president of OPEC. The allegations also say she accepted goods from high-end stores like Cartier and Louis Vuitton. The 63-year-old has been on bail since she was arrested in London in 2015. She denies corruption charges. John Cookson, Arise News at Westminster Magistrates Court.
Also, the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission has obtained an arrest warrant as it begins the extradition process of former Minister of Petroleum Resources, the Ezani Alison Madueke, from the United Kingdom back to Nigeria. The EFCC wants the Ezani to face 13-count charges bordering on money laundering leveled against her by the Anti-Graft Agency. The Commission further revealed that the money laundering charges for which Alison Madueke is answerable to the EFCC cover jurisdictions in Dubai, the United Arab Emirates, the United Kingdom, the United States of America, and Nigeria.
So I mean, I'm not surprised about the Ezani's case, because there goes the kind of morality we've built in our society, where people can corruptly steal from government, allegedly, and they go away with it. 8 years down the line, they have money, they can do whatever they want to do. They can post heavy bails, $70,000 bail, and the case keeps rambling on and on and on. But the shame comes back to Nigeria. So for those that argue that morality is not essential in society, they should remember the shame that comes back on Nigeria and how every other Nigerian is treated when cases like this are going out. A former petroleum minister of a country being put a tag in their hands like a common criminal, given a specific threshold, But it's not only Alison Madueke that has gone through this treatment. We all remember how a former governor had to dress like a woman and come back to the country. And we remember that a certain president in the country pardoned that same former governor. That's the kind of country we've built. But let the UK authorities have their investigation. All these allegations have been on for a while about Alison Madueke. No court has been able to dock her this allegation of bribery and a couple of other things she did. The EFCC too has been on a trail for a while. Let the court rule. And Alison Madueke, if she has a case to answer in Nigeria, she should also be able to face the Nigerian authorities. But this is the reflection of the morality in our society. And it speaks volumes. Yeah, that's the kind of society we've built. Congrats to all of us. Congratulations, Nigeria. Here you have your society.
Okay, I don't think anybody will ever argue that morality is not important in our society. I've written several essays on the distinction between what is called public morality and private morality. And it's a matter of education to be able to make that distinction. But if we extrapolate and we talk about elections, electoral jurisprudence, as I pointed out yesterday, is sui generis. The province of law is different from the social codes, ethical codes in society. After all, ethics is something that is at the center of everything, medical ethics, media ethics, and all of that. So morality is important. And we talk about high corruption, when we talk about transparency and accountability within the province of morality. So two different issues here. Now, however, in this particular case, again, I return to the point about institutions. What we have seen here is that in the UK, we keep being reminded of the value of institutions in society. That no matter what you do, no matter how long it takes, the institution will come after you with concrete evidence. And I guess that when this case takes off, it's not going to take off on the basis of sentiments. It's going to take off on the basis of hard evidence to establish certain principles under the rule of law. In Diezani Alison Madueke's case, one other lesson, I keep talking about lessons, is that, look, many of our leaders think they can leave Nigeria and relocate elsewhere. And we have seen the EFCC say, if whether you go to Dubai or you go to the US or you stay in Nigeria, all these jurisdictions where corruption matters are involved, they cooperate. However, it has taken the EFCC, the development in the UK for the EFCC now to be asking for extradition. Although, if you look at the story says the EFCC has been collaborating with the National Crime Agency in the UK to even process the other matter in the United States by helping with evidence and all of that. So, but it is important that our own institutions also function. They don't have to be kick-started by what happens in other jurisdictions. In this particular case, Mrs. Alison Madueke's lawyer has said that she's going to plead not guilty. And the case, I guess, is going to come up again on October 30 at the Southwark Crown Court. But yesterday at the magistrate court, a bail order was given to the tune of £70,000 with the instruction that she could not leave the court premises except that court bail was perfected. A curfew has been imposed on her, 11 a.m. to 6 p.m., and then also an electronic tag to be worn at all times, because the court also said, she could be a possible flight risk. These are the details, from that particular court of Magistrate Snow. That's the name of the magistrate. But, I'm sure that there are lessons to be extrapolated from this, but we have to watch the matter as it develops. They're saying bribery to the tune of £100,000. The EFCC is talking about a 13-charge count of money laundering. But yes, we have a extradition treaty with the United Kingdom dating back to as far back as I think 1938. The extradition act. But of course, there are processes in this regard, and the question will be, paying attention to issues about double jeopardy, making sure that a person cannot be tried twice for the same offense. But those are the other details. But This is the development right now. And it may also signal a determination on the part of the Tinubu administration to address issues of corruption. But in doing so, the Tinubu administration also must avoid the error of selective, intervention in this regard, which is the experience that we had under the previous administration when these cases were used to hound majorly political opponents and to fight, personal battles. We would expect greater integrity and accountability in matters like this, even as the Tinubu administration and its agencies collaborate with agencies in foreign jurisdictions.
And we're almost out of time, but just to mention that if I pose the question to our viewers this morning, between the UK courts and the Nigerian courts, just to emphasize that important part on strengthening our institutions, who would you prefer to try cases like this, especially for Nigerians? The answer is really sad, because oftentimes we believe in the processes of courts, foreign soils. Yes, I must give kudos to the FCC. There have been some high-profile cases, but again, what institutions like that have been accused of is selective justice, because as the popular song says, the poor man will steal something small and his face will be on EFCC pages, and a rich man will just be given a pat on the back. And that's what we often see in society. And so this case will be following closely. You would see the way it would play out before they would come out. I mean, she's been in the UK now for about since 2015, and they've been gathering evidence. They won't come in and the court will throw out the case for lack of merit or lack of evidence. Systematically done. I believe the EFCC is a very strong institution, and so far they've done quite well. But there's a lot more that can be done, and if they also must be exempted or free from interference by external forces like the executive, legislature, and other bodies, or even wealthy people in the nation. It's very important. And so the case has come home. Mrs. Alison Madueke must answer these questions, and it is very embarrassing. I think just going back to what you said, Rufai, about the fact that the image of Nigerians, already we're trying to, dry clean, if I use that word, wash our image in the, on the international scene, and we've been known as a nation where corruption thrives, and this does not in any way help our story. She's not guilty. She's innocent until proven guilty. However, it's the optics. It looks really bad. Former Minister of Petroleum Resources, former president of OPEC. I mean, OPEC themselves would be like, what did we get ourselves into with this one? But until the matter is concluded, we continue to watch and see just how it will, how it will play out in the courts in the